must, unlike the United States where there's vast open tracts where there's no one, you must always think of other people and always conduct yourselves and your actions based upon what its effect is on other people. I believe that there's so much benefit for foreigners to be derived from that feeling. And that single point, which I always say, in the West, you're my friend, but in China, I'm your friend. So putting the other person in the center, the middle, 在中, 对吧, is the most important thing that you can do in your life for success, no matter what you do. And this has changed my life exponentially. And once again, I reiterate what Jim said, and that is to allow this to change your mind and broaden your horizons at a young age is a gift from God and is just so wonderful. So thank you very much for allowing me to participate in this.
Thank you. Really touched my heart. Actually, you can see the three of my guests right now. One is came to China the first time from the 80s. Mid-80s is right after China's open door policy. 85, you know. Tom is in the 90s. That's already, you know, China has fast development. You are in the after 2000. So they basically came at different stage of China's fast development since the open door policy. So my second question I will ask is, after all these years, what is the single most important reason or event for you to stick around in China or stay so connected with China?
Well, one big reason is I have a Chinese wife who lives here, so that's kind of a mandatory there. So we do want to spend more time in the United States. But the reason is there's always been so much opportunity. For me, it's always been very, very enjoyable to work in China. So I've had the luxury of working for different private companies to be able to come here and do some amazing things, help build a facility outside of Shanghai, bought several facilities, came back and I worked for large law firms, and because I'd been over here several times and I was the China guy and would help early on with the sourcing of China products for American businessmen and working through that. I'm also a ISO auditor, so then I'd audit the facilities that are there, I'd negotiate the legal contracts, we'd make things happen, because in China you have to be many things for many people. And as they were saying before too, there are a lot of problems and opportunities here. And one of the first things I learned about China is everything is impossible and everything's possible. And I found that absolutely true, because on how you conduct yourself, the people you associate with, the guanxi you develop in different areas, can make things never happen or can make things always happen. And that's one of the beautiful things in China, our relationships and friendships. So that's really wonderful for all of you today to be able to meet one another, exchange, and I hope become lifelong friends. Because there's so many opportunities you can share from both China for the Americans and in America for the Chinese. And people, I see you all with an open heart and willing mind to be able to embrace that and try to exchange the culturalism that really makes us understand the world so much better, and quite honestly is the thing that will make the world a much better place.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tom. Yeah, he has been very dedicated in working in China, building U.S.-China relation, business, and cultural exchange for the last 20 plus years. I've had the pleasure working with him. Thank you very much. Jim, please.
Yeah, so I think my answer is a little bit different. I think we all have different career paths between the three of us and things that we've done. I've been an entrepreneur for most of my time here in China. And again, thinking about you guys in the audience and also the people who are watching online, I want to give you some insight into what it's really like to start from zero here in China. I came when I was between 19 and 20, and then the day after I graduated, I came back to China on a flight from Boston, very hungover after graduating from Boston College and arriving in Beijing. And so my entire professional career has been here in mainland China. I've really never worked in the United States except for about 3 months as a barista at like a really crummy coffee shop in Silicon Valley. And so my whole career has been in China. And I really only get a chance to encounter folks in the States to talk about careers when I'm back in the States for Christmas or for holidays. And the interesting thing is, when I go back to the States and I meet my friends and I talk to them about their lives and their careers, you find that it's almost like a time warp. People who are in the States, they steadily progress forward in their careers, but things take years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. And when I go back to the States, I meet people and they're perhaps in the same company for huge amounts of time, and they're in these slow, plodding, very methodical, but in some ways very boring career paths that take a long time to get anywhere. And the interesting thing about China that I feel like a lot of people don't understand is this is a place of incredible possibility. And if you have an idea, an entrepreneurial venture, or something that you want to do, China offers incredible ways for you to open up all these different possibilities and make them real in a really short amount of time. China's entrepreneurial atmosphere is really exciting for so many different ways. Also because a lot of the Chinese entrepreneurs you meet have their finger in many pies. They're doing many different business ventures at once. And I remember a long time ago in Beijing, the best example of this I saw, it was really common in China when I first got here, and I think for you guys as well, for people to exchange business cards. Now it's all moved to WeChat. We don't exchange cards anymore. But I remember getting a card from a guy once, and he had listed like 12 different professions on the card. He's like, he's a lawyer, he's a copyright guy, he's got a factory, he's a doctor, he's a dentist, you know, it's all on the same card. And I was amazed by the card, but I realized that it was a symbol of the fact that people here have this incredible entrepreneurial hustle. They're doing different ventures at once, they're trying things out. And people don't necessarily get stuck in a specific, you know, career or vertical where they say, okay, I'm, you know, only in this specific career and this is the thing I'm going to do for the rest of my life. People hustle and try all these different things. And so if you're a person in the audience, whether offline or online, and you have this desire to be an entrepreneur, to try your own business, I think counterintuitively what I would tell you is China is one of the best places for you to do that. If you have an idea for something you want to do, this is just the place. Myself, I've set up and run 2 businesses in China. I've gotten incredible support from friends, people, you mentioned Guanxi, the people around you. Of course, there are obstacles, there's difficulties like there are in any market if you want to set up. But I would just also say, like, beyond the benefits you can experience culturally and learning the language and learning about the people, there's also incredible opportunity, even now, for people to come to China and try out new ventures and new identities. So in that way, I find it really exciting.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you seem to be like a very well rooted in China, know how to navigate and get around. I think a lot of our students here may seek advice from you, even for their future, if they have an interest in future career paths or entrepreneurship in China. Thank you.
Okay. So basically, I have personal and business reasons why I come back. But for me, actually, it's more personal reasons. Because one of the things that I found out is, I have flexibility in my profession in the United States, and I can do just fine there. But the fact of the matter is, the basic thing is that I just like China more. That's really the reason I come here. And, what I say is, I don't know if, I use this analogy and hopefully people will be able to understand it. There was a game on a PC called Minesweeper, and it got progressively harder. At first you started out with a little 9x9 or 10x10 square. That was really easy, you'd get it done. And then you'd move on to an intermediate, which was like maybe 15x15. And then finally you'd move on to a really hard game, which was like 60x30, okay? And what I always tell people, China is the big hard game, okay? And when you play Minesweeper, once you get to the big hard game, the little easy game has absolutely no interest to you. And really what I feel about China is, it reminds me of that song, New York, New York, if I can make it here, I can make it anywhere. That's why you see Chinese immigrants come to the United States, not a word of English, not a penny in their pocket, blah, blah, blah. The next thing you know, they're millionaires. You don't see too much of that with Americans. And the reason is, quite honestly, because it's difficult. China has 5,000 years of history to learn that you have to incorporate in your interpersonal reactions, because history is much more alive and much more vibrant here than it is in the United States, which, was established in the middle of the Qing Dynasty. So, 500 years after we consider China, Ming Qing Jing, modern times, right? So the fact of the matter is oftentimes I say I'm only 40 years old because I discount the time that I was in the United States, and I didn't really start learning until I came to China. And the feeling that China gives you is like when you're in the airport and you're walking on the movable sidewalk, right? When you get back to America, it's like getting to the end of the movable sidewalk, okay? You're walking as fast, but you're not moving as fast because life here happens much more quickly. So that's the reason, personally, I like it, and in terms of professionally, I want to paraphrase something Thomas says. I say the same thing, I say it a different way. China is either the easiest place on earth to get things done, or the hardest place on earth to get things done. And figuring out how to turn the former into the latter makes you a smart person and a rich person.
Wow, how insightful, full of wisdom, right? Thank you very much for sharing that experience. Yeah, very, very insightful.
I'll try to be shorter next time, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's really very, very helpful. Yeah, so I think next we can open the questions to students. Yeah, I would like to open the question to our students today here. It's really a very rare opportunity to be able to ask questions to all three China hands. They have been in China for decades with a lot of experience. So who would like to ask the first question from our audience today? Raise your hands, please.
I have a question for you guys, if I could start.
Okay, please. Yeah.
If you want a question,
Oma,
you can
yes,
say
please.
that.
Yeah.
This might be a basic
Stand up,
question.
stand up.
Oh, okay. My apologies. This might be more of a basic question, but what is your favorite? Sorry, what is your favorite? Sorry. And I'll rephrase what I was gonna say. My question is, what would your guys' favorite food be here? Like, what's your favorite food? Because the Chinese food in America is obviously, it's more American. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just.
It's a great question. It's gonna have next few days you can experience what the recommendation in food. That's a great question.
Yeah, sure, I'll start. I've got 3 daughters, and I tell them there's no such thing as Chinese food.
Yeah.
Because it's all regional food, and it's all wonderful. And that's one of the wonderful things about China is the variety that's here. I do like spice, and I discovered the province of Yunnan, which is in the southwest a little while ago, and lived in Dali part of the year. And there's even a minority population called the Bai people. And they've got their own 3,000-year-old culture, and they have their own food. But it's kind of a combination of Szechuan, which is just north of Yunnan, and a variety of different things. So for personal reasons, that's become my favorite food, but I love the variety, and I love experiencing the variety of food throughout China.
It's really interesting.
Anyone wants to share about food?
No, you go first. Well, we'll do it in order.
Yeah, I echo what Thomas said about the variety of Chinese food. In America, it's really just like General Joe's chicken, orange chicken, chow mein, and it's a really short list, but there's a tremendous variety. So first of all, while you guys are here, try everything you can. For me, there's so much good food. I think lately I've been really obsessed with when Chinese is called a jianbing. So it's a savory crepe, a little bit like a French Parisian crepe, but the difference is it's a savory flavor. It's kind of like an umami kind of flavor, and it's usually done with eggs and scallions or chives inside of a crepe, and then they'll have like a very thin slice of fried dough or dough sticks inside, and it's made in most breakfast shops between like 6 a.m. and 9 a.m., and it's usually between like 7 and 10 renminbi, between like $1 and $1.5 US for something that's much better than whatever you get at like Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks in the US. Jianbing is like the ultimate breakfast food. If you want a pro tip, you can add an extra egg to your jianbing. That's allowed. If you say jiagadan, extra jianbing, I would recommend it. Another pro tip is they have like these little kind of Spam sausages in the jianbing shop, so you can add like a Spam. I know it's a bit weird in the States, people don't love Spam, but Spam inside of a breakfast crepe, jianbing, will change your life. Jianbing is my answer, it's my final answer.
Yeah, we have to make sure you get one now.
Well, first of all, I want to give a shout out to my hometown of Los Angeles, California, because the best Chinese food outside of China 独一无二 is absolutely Los Angeles. That being said, I'm really clear, okay? I love Chuan Cai and Xiang Cai. I love Sichuan food and Hunanese food because I too like it spicy, although I like Shengjianbing in Shanghai too. So there's all sorts of great things all throughout China. And remember, as to echo one thing that Thomas says, there's no such thing as Chinese food. There's no word 中国料理 in Chinese food because there is no such thing. This is an empire, right? So it's like saying European food. Well, you mean French food, Italian food, German food? It's all different. Same thing here.
So there are 56 nationalities in China. So different, yeah. So 56个民族对吧？56个民族。So they all have their different food culture, but I would highly recommend hot pot. You need to try hot pot and 山西刀削面. Yeah. Any other? Yeah.
I love 山西刀削面.
Yes, that's yeah. Any other questions from our audience? Any other questions? Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for your sharing with your experience, and I do encourage our students to interact more with our mentors, following with our group. And thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So the next, we're gonna have our next round of the panel discussion with our young people. We're gonna have our young student representatives coming up here to share their experience in China, all to share why they choose to come to China for the first time. Like Jim just shared about 15 years ago, he came here as a college student, which changed his life. We do have a few students here, it's their very first time outside of the United States that they choose to come to China, to Hangzhou, to spend time with us. So we would like to have them to share why they are here and what do they expect. But first of all, let me introduce Sophia Cesaroni, who will be the moderator for the student panel. Sophia, please take the stage.
Hi, I'm Sophia Cesaroni. I'll be moderating this panel, so if our panelists would like to come up and take a seat. And then, as everyone's getting sat down, if you want to just introduce yourself really quick, just to summarize.
Hello, I'm Kiara. Nice to meet everyone.
Microphone. I'm Annalise. Nice to meet you.
Hello, my name is Kylan.
Okay, so I'm just going to ask some questions if you each want to just answer them down the line. So what made you interested in attending this summer camp? And why you wanted to go to China specifically?
Okay, what was really interesting about this summer camp is that I've never been outside of the United States, and I feel like there's always a misconception about China and the States where everyone is not modern, everything is just a little different here, but it's immersive food is kind of what brought me here, and their business, it's super big, I love it, and also I just never been outside of the United States, so it's just a first time experience that my parents thought would be super cool, super unique, and I took up the opportunity and I'm very happy I did.
And I think it definitely has a good mixture of modern and more rural areas. It's really cool to just experience all the different parts. So if our next panelist would like to speak.
Yeah, so when I was given the opportunity to come to China, I took it because I've been to many different countries before. And I'd say that it's a great opportunity and it's a great feeling to get to tell people that I get to go to different countries and tell them about the experiences I have and the food I get to eat. And yeah, so China specifically, I mean, at home, I live in Los Angeles too, so the food is, I would say it's pretty good. I've always loved Chinese food, I've loved all Asian foods, and Asia is a place that I would say it's less common to come to Asia. there's a lot, like Kiara said, there's a lot of misconceptions about Asia. So in general, to be here and to experience it myself, it's a nice feeling, and I'm very grateful and proud that I get to have this experience.
Okay, for me, I never traveled internationally. This is actually my very first time to travel outside of the United States. So I personally love Chinese food, and I know in America it's not, Chinese food. So I mean, having to be here and eat Chinese food, and it's a really great way to see how things are here. And I've always wanted to see other parts of the country, like besides my country. So having to see like other modern things, and it's really, really interesting to me, and how people act and how they just like how they talk is really interesting, because it's really different, from United States and China. It's going to be different, and I'm just so glad to see how people are, in China. So.
I think it's really cool that this is all your guys' first time in China. It must be very exciting. So my next question is, what have your first impressions been of China, and how do they compare to what you expected before you came?
So my first thoughts was very eye-opening, just how cleanly everything was. Like when I got out of the airport, it was very nice and pretty clean. I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't really have any bad thoughts or good thoughts about it. I was just coming in just blind, and I am absolutely loving it so far.
I agree with what Kiara said. About 2 weeks ago, I was in Japan, and that was the first country in Asia I had been to. So to see the similarities in Japan and China, I see a lot of similarities. So I think I'm still having a bit of a culture shock, but not as much, because I do see a lot of similarities from Japan. But I would say that I do love it. There's nothing that I don't like, and the food has been really good so far. Yeah.
So for me, I didn't expect anything different. I came here and I immediately loved it. Everything was so green and naturey, and in the United States is not as green, and I'm more of like a outgoing, I like seeing like forests, and here in China everything is green and foresty, and I like that, and I like how everything is very clean, and yeah.
Cool. So I guess I'll move on to the next question, which is, what are you most excited for this trip?
I think is, well, I don't really know what I'm excited for, honestly. The most exciting part that I was just looking forward to is meeting new people, only since I don't really get the opportunity to do that super often, only since I come from a really small town in California, and everyone knows each other. So I've gotten the opportunity to meet so many new friends, and I absolutely just love it.
Yeah, I think that's a really great opportunity that we get to meet all these other students from different places, and I think I'm most excited for, if I have the opportunity, I would love to see pandas if I can. But yeah, just being in China, trying food, experiencing the culture, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, same for me as well as you guys. I'm just here to meet new people from around the world, and having to meet people from China. It's really, really awesome, and having to just meet new friends, and throughout the upcoming days. It'll be very nice.
Okay, I'll end with one more fun question that has to do with today. What was your favorite part of your first full day in China, and why?
I think it would have to be the automotive company that we went to. Everything was super technology oriented. All the cars here are super technology oriented. It's kind of eye-opening that everyone here, for the most part, like drives an electric vehicle that's super modern. Only since in the States it's super normal for people to have like old rundown cars since they're more affordable compared to the new upcoming technological cars that they have over there.
I think my favorite part of today was probably the lunch. I got to sit with new people that I didn't know before and talk to them, and now I feel closer to a little bit of everybody, which is a nice feeling. The food was really good. I tried things that I've never tried before, new flavors, and I learned a lot as well at the automotive place. The presentation was very informative, and I think it was a good day overall. So yeah.
Overall today, I really liked the automotive place as well. The presentation was really nice and very helpful for me to learn about cars. And also the live streaming place was actually really cool because they were live streaming on TikTok, and it's actually really nice to see the differences between the United States and China, and to see how they act in front of the camera. It's really cool to see. So.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much for coming up and sharing. That'll be the end of the youth panel.
Great, thank you very much for sharing with all of us about your experience in China. Now we're gonna invite our next Chinese panel. Yeah. So we will have the Zhejiang University of Communication student representatives to come on stage to do their part of the sharing. 下面我们邀请我们这次的合作伙伴浙江传媒大学的学生来上台做一些分享。那么我们这次在最开始的这2天，他们表现出了非常专业度的新闻系的学生和主持的学生来跟我们跟我们美国的团队来交流。那么 now let's welcome 浙江传媒大学的学生。好，谢谢。
我们这个中美交流团是从17号下午应该是正式会面的，到了昨天晚上，我们所有人是正式到齐了。其实我们相处的时间不算非常的长，但是我相信相处的时间不长，但是我们一定会留下一些非常让人印象深刻的事情。所以首先想请3位同学分享一下。在这2天半或者是1天半的这个时间里，有没有和哪一位同学有非常让你印象深刻的事情？尤其是也可以针对到某一位这个同学，那就boy first，OK。
中文还是英文？
中文。
好的，这几天其实发生了很多有意思的事情。因为我们有要拍摄的任务，所以我们也记录下来了很多有意思的镜头。然后我们在这个拍摄的过程中就是在1天的结束之后，我们会剪辑这些东西，然后发到自己的社交账号上。我觉得这些过程也非常有意思。在拍摄镜头的时候，有一段我们的采访，我们和 Lucy， 然后还有就和 Lucy 的那段采访中，有一段我记忆特别深刻的地方，就是当时我们在聊到自己最喜欢的运动的时候，我说到我最喜欢的球星是。斯蒂芬·库里，然后 she asked me, "Are you working with him?" I was like, "No, I'll be shocked if I can work with him." And 就是有很多，无论是语言沟通上的问题，还是我们这种文化交流上的问题，我们都会遇到很多的差异。然后也正是在这个过程中，我们更加的了解彼此文化之间的这种不同，然后在这种过程中增进彼此的友谊以及对彼此文化的了解。我觉得这是个非常有意思的过程。
好，谢谢陈德林同学。那我们有请。何伟同学，
这次活动中我印象比较深刻的是在今天去吉利集团的时候，我和 Sophia 单独到大厅去，我采访了一下她关于她在吉利汽车体验的一个想法。她当时说吉利汽车那个大屏幕给她留下了非常深刻的印象， 因为他觉得这个屏幕非常的特斯拉。我当时就觉得，好像中国和美国的一些产品，包括科技上面的水平，在某一种条件上好像达到了一致性，有一种和而不同又美美与共的感觉，因为他们在那个大屏幕上看《喜羊羊与灰太狼》，对，然后我当时觉得非常有意思。我也觉得在剪辑方面，因为我们是几个人一起在一间房间里面剪辑的，大家一起点了烧烤，然后一起在谈论一些其他的事情，非常的chill，非常的开心，真的是一个我非常喜欢跟大家在一起。
好的，谢谢各位同学，那我们有请加贝同学。
我觉得这几天让我印象最深刻的就是各种美国和中国的这样一个文化差异，包括之前老师也说过，就是Hamid 他刚下飞机的时候，他想要找一瓶冰水，但是很难找到，然后很多地方我们都是只提供热水，然后包括今天中午我们和就是他们一起吃饭的时候，他们看到皮蛋，然后有点接受不了，感觉就是像黑暗料理一样的。他们还拍了一个视频，就是挑战吃皮蛋的视频。然后包括他们就是在上厕所的时候，我们可能更喜欢蹲坑，但是他们可能更喜欢马桶。对，就是包括这种各种，就是很多这种习惯上的差异，就是让我感觉到了，真的就是一种不同文化的一种交流和碰撞。对，我觉得就是和不同的人接触，感受不同的文化，就是这次活动就是最有意义，也是最有意思的。
好，谢谢三位同学的分享。其实我想纠正一个点啊，我们叫浙江传媒学院，但是老师刚才介绍的呢是浙江传媒大学，为什么呢？因为我们的学院马上就要升大学了，而我们这次交流也是为我们这个国际文化传播学院，包括新闻学院，包括浙江传媒学院，我们学校是增添助力的。所以我也非常想问一下三位同学，就是我们作为未来的准传媒人，在这次跨文化交流当中学到了哪些技能，以及这次的经历如何更好的帮助我们未来在传媒领域更好的传递中国故事呢？Going first。OK，
因为我刚刚提到了我们在拍摄 vlog 的过程中就是因为对我来说拍 vlog 其实不是一个非常熟练的过程，然而在这个过程中，我们就会强迫自己去学习很多的新的知识。比如说，在我第一天拍摄的素材当中，最后剪好发现画面不太对，因为我有时候拍的是竖屏，有时候拍的是横屏，然后拍摄出来的素材就有的大有的小。在这个学习的过程中，我觉得就是无论是主动的还是被动的，都学到了很多有用的拍摄知识、剪辑知识。然后这样的知识虽然我是学双语播音，但是这个技能依然是在双语播音中是非常有用的。我们在制作 vlog 的过程中，也正是提高了我们这种能力。在传播中国故事的这个过程中，不只是说有一个团队你才能做好这样的故事，而是我们一个个大学生，每个人用自己的手机、用自己的麦克风，就能编织好一个美妙的话题、美妙的故事、美妙的视频，然后通过自己的方式形成自己的这种所谓的传播矩阵，然后传播这种中国故事。我觉得这也是一个非常好的方式，这就是我这几天所学到的。
好，谢谢各位同学。
我觉得这次活动主要是教给了我一个勇气吧，因为我是一个比较矮、比较内向的人，然后我自己单独去采访、去拍摄的时候，我有时候就不太敢跟人家交流。然后这次在这个团体中，我看大家都在和美国的学生交流，然后呢都在邀请他们去拍摄一些 vlog、一些画面。然后，所以我今天也主动找了 Sophia 去拍摄，我们还互相拍了照片。我觉得就是这样一种归属感，给了我一种就是向外交流的勇气。就是这样。
好，李佳贝同学。
我觉得这次活动带给我最大的成长，就是一种和不同文化的一种跨文化交流的能力。因为就是很多时候我们在讲我们的传统文化，在讲我们的中国故事的时候，我们可能会遇到一些文化上的一些差异，我们可能会难以去理解，包括我们应该怎样去翻译，怎样去让他们更好的接受。 我觉得这都是一种在实践中磨练自己，就是在实践中我们会变得更加有经验。所以我觉得这是本次活动我认为最有价值的地方，就是我们跟不同的人接触，然后我们锻炼了这种跨文化交流的能力，在这种实践中能够一次又一次的去成长。
好，谢谢三位同学的分享。其实这几天的旅程当中，我们接受到了很多的夸奖以及感谢。他们每个美国学生其实都一遍一遍告诉我们说，谢谢你们给我们提供了这样的语言服务，和我们一起去游遍西湖、游遍浙江。但实际上，我们想说是我们谢谢你们，因为无论是理论还是知识，都要从课本走向现实。而各位同学的到来，其实恰恰给了我们这么一个机会，像 Justin 这样的 Old China Hand。来到了中国，也是恰恰给我们一个与外方交流的机会，让我们更好的运用我们的传播理论，运用我们的传播知识，让理论从课本走进了现实，让我们知道我们学的知识是可以作用于社会的，可以作用于文化交流，可以作用于更好的讲好中国故事的。So thank you。
太棒了，太棒了！我就是看到年轻人这样，真的是我心里特别特别开心。Just to see young people express themselves, interact with each other, learn from their experience, making me so happy. 我想专门感谢一下我们 ICN 的李峰老师，还有我们全球企业社会责任基金会的托马斯，还有我们这次尚美空间为我们提供这样的一个艺术场地，还有双语部落为我们提供这样的一个直播的一个支持。And really thank you everyone for helping to make this event possible. This year is the 45th anniversary of China-US relations. So I encourage everybody to be more engaged and to more sharing of your experience in China and the US. And this is a very good event and trip for us to build our civic relations, business relations, personal relations between these two countries. For all of us, working between these two countries for all the last many years, we all know it's very important for each one of us to continue to contribute to the friendship of two countries and two peoples, and everybody will benefit from the friendship of two countries. Like we see from the old China hands who are already either married in their personal life with a Chinese wife, or doing their business with China, or start their startups in China, or to see the young people today with just such a short time to learn so much from each other, which can help them formulate their future career paths and have impact in their future choices of either career or study or academic pursuit. So by saying that, I would like to conclude the event of today's American Youth View China live broadcasting. We conclude right here. And I would like to say 美国青年看中国直播活动，我们到现在就完满结束了。感谢大家。
谢谢。谢谢大家。后面的活动请李峰安排一下，李峰，你安排一下吧。